Hello, this is Miss Pat from Samuel's Public Library. This week in Science Scouts, we're going to learn about eclipses, specifically the lunar eclipse, because I got a surprise for you at the end of this. So this week's story is called The Moon Keeper, and this is by Zosienka. Looks like a polar bear. I guess he keeps the moon, huh? There is a letter addressed to Emil. He's been invited to attend the meeting of the night creatures to hear a very important announcement. The night creatures have chosen him as the new moon keeper. Emil is honored because this is a very important job. Emil prepares himself for the task. There are many things he might need for looking after the moon. At dusk, he climbs 93 steps up the ladder to meet the moon. Up in the sycamore tree, Emil introduces himself. The moon is beautiful and round. Emil has never looked at the moon this way before, and he realizes just how magnificent it is. For several nights, Emil keeps watch over the moon. He clears some obscuring clouds and tells the fruit bats to move along when they play too close. There isn't a lot to do, but Emil finds the moon nice to talk to in the stillness of the night. One evening, he notices something strange. Emil rubs his eyes. Is the moon getting smaller? His neighbor nods in agreement. Yes, indeed. It seems to be shrinking. The change is slight. To be certain, Emil draws a picture of the moon each night and compares it to the one from the night before. Emil hasn't imagined a problem such as this. He rummages through his tools and instruments, but there is nothing there to protect the moon from disappearing. Think, thinks Emil. Have you had enough to eat? Emil asks the moon. Or are you sad? Maybe the fireflies can cheer you up with a riddle, says Emil. Which fish swim only at night? Asked a firefly. A starfish, replied another. Emil giggles at the joke and sees that the moon is smiling too. He phones his cousin in the jungle to find out how the moon looks over there. It isn't good news. Same here, Emil, reports his cousin. The moon grows thinner and thinner until it's no thicker than a thread. A big green bird lands beside Emil. I've lost the moon, Emil tells the bird. I was supposed to protect it, but I don't know how to make it stay. Watch me, says the bird. It jumps off the roof and flies into the darkness. Emil stares into the night, trying to keep the bird in sight. I'm back, says a voice behind Emil. How to get there? Things come and go. You'll see, says the bird. And then the moon blinks and vanishes. The night is dark, but Emil pictures the moon in his mind and repeats the words of the big green bird until he falls asleep. When Emil wakes up, there is a new smile in the sky. You're back, he whispers. Each night, the moon grows bigger and bigger until it fills the sky again. Okay, so what he didn't know was that the moon actually does go through phases. So while Emil lost it over a couple of nights, we're going to talk about how it can disappear in one night. It doesn't usually do that. Right? So when it goes through the phases, each night it's a little bit less or a little bit more. And that would be the phases of the moon. We're going to talk about how it disappears in one night. Okay, so what is an eclipse? Eclipse means something gets blocked. Okay, you could eclipse somebody else's shadow if you're standing in front of them and you're bigger than they are. Okay, an eclipse, though, in the sky is when something in the sky is blocking the light from the sun. Usually it's the moon blocking the sunlight, and it makes the earth very dark in the middle of the day. Or it's a planet, like the earth, is going to block the sunlight, and it's going to make the moon a full moon. Okay, just like he had right here. He had a full moon. It's going to make a full moon disappear. Okay, that would be an eclipse, either a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. That would be an eclipse in the sky. Okay, so the solar eclipse is when the new moon is in between the earth and the sun, right? It casts a shadow on the earth. So if the sun and the moon and then the earth, the moon is going to block the sun. And in the middle of the day, somewhere around noon, the whole nice sunny day out right now, and it's just going to get really dark, and you're going to hear the crickets start, and you're going to hear the birds start, the ones that normally come out at night or in the evening. They're all going to start because they think it's nighttime. Okay, it appears to block the sun, and it turns the day to nighttime. Solar eclipses are for a few minutes. Okay, we had one a couple years ago. A lunar eclipse is different. When this happens, the earth is in between the sun and the moon, and it's the earth blocking the sunlight, right? It's usually a full moon, so we see the big moon, big white circle in our sky, right? At nighttime usually, and the earth gets in the middle, and that big white circle just starts looking like somebody is slowly eating it, and all of a sudden it disappears. And I shouldn't say all of a sudden, because a lunar eclipse will take a lot longer than a solar eclipse. Okay, it usually happens at night, and it takes hours for the moon to move out of that shadow. Hours for the earth to move one way and the moon to move the other. Not minutes like the solar eclipse, all right? And this is a picture. The sun is trying to put light on the full moon. That's what's reflecting the light. But when the earth gets in the middle, it blocks it. Okay, there is a shadow on there, and it just disappears. So it's not like the moons that I have back here, where they're slowly getting smaller. Okay, that would be phases, but it kind of looks like that, but it's all the phases in a couple of hours. So it'll start with a full moon, and then it'll get smaller, and it'll disappear completely, and then it'll come back. So it'll be like all the phases in a couple of hours. Right, there is going to be a lunar eclipse, and this is your surprise. This week, okay, or close to this week, it'll be May 26th, but it's going to be in between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so when you guys go to bed, you can look outside, you'll see a full moon. If you set your alarm and you get up around 3 o'clock, maybe 3:30, right, it's going to start disappearing. It's not going to disappear quickly. You're not going to notice it. It's not going to happen really fast, like somebody moving something in front of it. Okay, but as you watch, the moon will disappear. And then it will start coming back. Okay, again, the sun is going to be blocked by the earth. So our activity this week, if you guys come into the library and you come to get your science kit, you're going to get a paper. I have it upside down. Okay, 3 circles, and I labeled them, but you can color them in. So we got the sun, really big, the earth, the moon. Now, I colored mine. Okay, and you can color yours, or you can just leave them and just label them sun, earth, moon. However you want to do that. I'm just going to give you 3 circles, and then you're going to have to cut them out, and you're going to have these little brackets. Okay, and brackets just means that it's these pieces that can pull apart. So let's cut out our sun, earth, and moon. You'll also have a couple of paper strips in between in the baggie. And the reason is you're going to take one of the brackets and you're going to push it through carefully in the middle of your earth. Okay, so I'm pushing it through. And now I'm going to take one of my strips and I'm going to push it through there. Bend down the pieces so it doesn't come back out and doesn't poke anybody. Okay, so now I have this attached. Well, now I got to cut out my sun and attach the other side, don't I? Then you guys will be able to see how a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse will work. Again, I'm poking this through my sun, through the other paper. I'm gonna secure it. Now I have my sun, and right now I can see how my sun orbits the earth. I'm sorry, how my earth orbits the sun, right? It goes around the sun. And I'm gonna have to cut out my moon. And I attach it here. Now, to attach the other side, I'm actually going to have to open up my earth again. Okay, because I have to attach it in the same spot. So we're going to poke it through. Now we've poked it through, and we're going to close it up. Yep, got one of the pieces through. Didn't get both through. I gotta be careful that I get them both through. One of them is bent. Hey. Now, I'll be able to see, here's my sun. My moon is blocking the light from the moon. My earth is blocking the light to the moon. And now I have a lunar eclipse. Now remember, your moon goes around the sun, earth. If it's over here in the way, it's blocking the, whenever it's like this is going to be a solar eclipse. Okay, this will be a solar eclipse. That one won't happen until 2024 on the east coast of the United States. But if you guys want to see the moon lunar eclipse, you need to watch out between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock on May 26th this month. Okay, so thank you for learning a little bit about the eclipses, and let me know if you guys enjoy it. Bye.